Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Here we go. So for the guests in the audience, my name is Bill Bryson. I'm one of the Learning Society leaders with the Emory University Physician Assistant Program. And on behalf of the entire PA program, faculty, staff, and Dean Ely, I would like to welcome you to the white coat ceremony for the Emory PA class of 2023. Hello. Class of 2023. Has it really only been 10 weeks? I mean, you know how they talk about a dog year? Is this like been a dog 10 weeks? It begs the question, it might feel kind of strange to have a ceremony of this sort not even 3 months into the program. But believe it or not, it really, this time really does mark a transition point in your training. You've spent the last 10 weeks learning the basics of your profession, history taking, physical examination. There it is. Yeah, Alex Kendall. Anatomy, biochemistry, microbiology. Yeah, I heard the groans. Immunology, pathophysiology, pharmacology, and ethics. You've worked very, very hard during a period of time that is tremendously demanding and full of new experiences, challenges, maybe a new place to live, just a completely different set of expectations in your life. And transition, not to mention COVID, with all of its uncertainty, its fear, its loss that's touched all of us in one way or another. But sit back and think a minute. You really have come a very long way in a really short period of time. Whether you realize it or not, you are fundamentally different today than you were 10 weeks ago. You have begun the process of developing your knowledge and your skill set with a very steep slope of learning, baptism by fire, as it were. And you're fundamentally different than you were a few short months ago. You have begun your professional journey and traveled no small distance. I dare say that for most, if not all of you, there's probably never been a period of time in your previous experience during which you've learned more academically in such a short period of time. I see the heads nodding. So congratulations on your progress. And yes, exams are always right around the corner. They're on your mind. But these too shall pass with hard work and your best efforts. And sooner than you think, you will transition to the organ system modules, beginning with hematology oncology. This is the time where you'll dive deeper into the study of the workings of the human body and the diseases that affect it. You'll begin the period of your training marked by the laying on of hands. You'll be seeing patients more regularly during this phase, taking histories, performing physical exams, generating assessments and plans, flexing your clinical muscles. This is the good stuff. So this time in some ways does represent the crossing of perhaps the first of many thresholds on your road to becoming medical professionals. And so today, we acknowledge and congratulate you on your substantial progress in a short period of time. Progress disproportionate to the amount of time that you've been here, but nonetheless significant. And we also look ahead to the miles before you with this white coat ceremony. And with that, our Physician Assistant Program Director, Dr. Maha Lund, is always eager to talk to you. As we mark this occasion, please welcome Dr. Lund.
Dear PA class of 2023, dear friends, family, faculty, staff, and distinguished guests. I am so glad that we can be here together today. In the last few months, you have courageously started on a new journey during very challenging times. And I'm so glad that the pandemic, knock on wood, is dying down a little bit so that we can be together here today. And I wanted to tell you that I'm really, really proud of you, of everything that you have already accomplished. You have just pushed through the first anatomy exam, the physical exam, but you're managing and you're doing really, really well. And I want you to know that I'm very proud of you. As we talk about the white coat ceremony today, we were actually talking that we don't really wear the white coat as often in the clinical setting anymore, especially during COVID, because there's question of infection. And when we go from room to room in our white coats. However, I think there is still a lot of symbolic value to the white coat, and that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk about the significance of the white coat. So the white coat was introduced into medical practice with the beginning of aseptic surgery in the late 1880s. And the first white coats were actually beige, and they were in contrast to the black coats and jackets that administrators wore. And the first coats were short-sleeved and they were open in the back so that they always needed somebody else, I guess, to tie their coats. During this time, clinicians also started using science as the basis for medical decisions. And so medical doctors soon adopted the white coat to represent themselves as scientists. The white coat has become a symbol of life, of purity, and of innocence. It stands for goodness, hope, and compassion, as well as professionalism. It is seen as a symbol of the clinician's commitment to do no harm and as a cloak of compassion. It is a measure of competence and credibility. White coats remind us of our professional duties, that we should lead our lives and practice our art in uprightness and honor, as Hippocrates said. White coat ceremonies are actually a modern tradition. The first white coat ceremony was held at Columbia College of Physicians and Surgeons in 1993. So it is really not that old of a tradition. But since that time, these ceremonies have welcomed students of medicine into the profession and have reminded them of the ideals of honor and compassion. Power that comes with medical knowledge must be respected and never taken for granted. Today, we celebrate you and welcome you into the PA profession by placing white coats onto your shoulders. These coats are short, indicating that you are students of medicine, and when you graduate, you will have long coats indicating increased knowledge and skill. Remember that medicine is ever-changing and requires lifelong learning. Donning your white coat today represents an important step on your journey to becoming competent and compassionate physician assistants. In a few minutes, you will take the physician assistant oath. It emphasizes that you will adhere to the core values of honesty, integrity, altruism, and empathy. It will remind you to always put the health, safety, and privacy of your patient first, and you will pledge to be professional at all times. Becoming a professional happens in and out of the classroom. It is a learning and socialization process that is a shared responsibility between the faculty and you, the students. Much of professionalism is learned outside the formal curriculum in interaction with other professionals, the faculty, and especially your patients. So what does it mean to be a professional? When I started my first job as a hospitalist PA at St. Elizabeth's Medical Center in Brighton, Massachusetts, my learning curve was steep, very, very steep. And I have to admit that I was scared every time my pager went off. And yes, I know I'm dating myself again. But I was scared that I couldn't answer every question that people might have for me. I was scared that I couldn't handle every possible medical situation that would come my way. But after a few months, Dr. Neuschatz, my attending, pulled me aside and told me that he had watched the way I cared for my patients. He said that he would be comfortable having me take care of his own grandmother. And that is the greatest compliment that I have ever had as a physician assistant. And I encourage you to be the kind of professional that other people trust their own loved ones with. So now that doesn't mean that I will always be a perfect PA or program director or mother, as our daughters would like to remind us when they were teenagers, but they outgrew that phase and I survived it. But your faculty and your classmates and maybe your preceptors might sometimes disappoint you. Some of your patients might not take your advice. And sometimes a member on your clinical team might act unethically. And yes, I had to bring ethics in here as well. But however, I believe that it is up to us to decide how we will respond and how we will move forward in spite of these situations. The white coat alone does not make the wearer knowledgeable, respectful, trustworthy, or caring. It is up to you to embrace and develop these traits, whether you're wearing the coat or not. Your white coat should be worn proudly as a symbol of service, compassion, and humility, not one of arrogance or privilege. Today, as you accept the white coat as a symbol of your entrance into the PA profession, you take on the responsibilities to embody these qualities of professionalism. Oh, if you could only see the vision that I have for each one of you. You have so much capacity. There is so much there that I see in you, and I have seen it from the beginning, and I have seen this grow over the last few weeks. So in the next 26 months, you will learn a lot. They will go by very quickly. I know that they will be intense, and I know that we will require a lot of you, but I can also promise you that they will be very rewarding. So please take advantage of your faculty, the support services at Emory, and rely on and work with each other, with your classmates. And so in closing, I would like to congratulate the members of the Emory Physician Assistant Class of 2023. I look forward to working with you, to watch you grow, and to become the best physician assistants that you can be for your future patients. Thank you.
Dr. J. William Ely is a Georgia boy and an Emory man. He has been walking the halls of Emory for a minute. And by that, I mean more than a minute. He started earning his bachelor's in science and chemistry as an undergraduate, and then he earned his medical doctorate at Emory, and then he earned a master's of public health at Emory again. After completing his residency training in hematology oncology, he joined the Department of Epidemiology in the Rollins School of Public Health in 1989. He taught while pursuing his research interest in disparities of survival among African American and Caucasian women diagnosed with breast cancer. He's worked in clinical oncology at Grady, the hospital formerly known as Crawford Long, now Emory Midtown, Emory University Hospital, and Winship Cancer Institute. He has been teaching epidemiology for years, if not decades. He has been director of admissions, served on numerous institutional, state, and national committees, and he currently serves as Executive Associate Dean for Medical Education and Student Affairs at the Emory University School of Medicine, all while continuing to care for patients. And really, more important than all of that, he's approachable, he's friendly, he's funny, he's easy to talk to, and he always has time for you. He's just one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. His mama should be proud. Please welcome Dr. Bill Ely.
Said that if only my mama was still alive to hear those kind words. I do remember, when I went to medical school and became an epidemiologist, for the rest of my life, she asked me, "Now, what do you really do?" She understood doctor. She didn't get epidemiologist. Fortunately, I did both. So, Mama, I'm also a doctor. Oh, okay. I am so humbled to be here, and thank you to our faculty, Dr. Lund, Bill Bryson. I see Dean Doug Ander back in the back. Susie Alfonso is here, our medical director. People have turned out to see you all don these white coats. And not to mention, sitting behind you are people who love you very dearly and care about you. This is a special day. Now, I've got two tasks here. In addition to the white coat ceremony, this is the 50th anniversary of the PA program of Emory University. So how about a shout out for that? So I'll do a little history, and I think you all know a lot of this because Dr. Charles Hudson, hence the Hudson Society, was a physician that in 1961 sort of proffered in the Journal of the American Medical Association that we needed to change the people who were delivering care. And while he didn't coin the term physician assistant, he clearly stated that we had to add to the cadre, that it was no longer okay for just a doctor and a nurse because the things we were doing were so much more complicated. We need people that were going to work on a team. And team was really, that was when it was starting, was in the 1960s. But, and let me see, it took another person, I think this will pop up in a minute, who's featured in here to start the first PA program. But before you look at that person, look at this Department of Medicine at Emory University circa 1942-43. And while I'm sure these were it was a great group of individuals as the faculty, their lack of diversity in terms of our community is stunning. Look at us today. Isn't it a wonderful thing that we have women and people of color and people of all cultures in our PA program? It's an amazing group of people that are gathered here today. You get to learn about each other, really as your first subjects. And learning about other people is what medicine is all about. So I'm so glad you're able to learn about each other. And I thank every one of you for being here and sharing literally your lives with your classmates and our community. All right, to the people in this picture, the guy in the middle in the front row is a guy named Eugene Stead. You know about Stead. He's also one of your societies. Well, he was an Atlanta guy. And then he moved to Decatur. He moved all the way from Atlanta to Decatur. He's actually on the outskirts of Atlanta. He's kind of in the farm community. And back then, in the 1920s, if you got right outside the city of Atlanta, you were in the country. Dr. Stead, I was reading part of his biography. He said he got a partial scholarship to Emory because he was the best student in his high school. And he said that was perhaps the lowest mark ever achieved by someone in academia. Because he came from a very, very country, very rural school where he was the best student. And Emory at that time gave a scholarship to the best student in every high school. Dr. Stead came here at the age of 16 to go to college. He finished in 3 years. He went on to medical school and finished that in 3 years. And then he went on from here. And I said, fortunately, Emory Medical School, who had been unaccredited his penultimate year, gained accreditation the year he graduated. So he got to go to Boston, to the Peter Bent Brigham Hospital, which at that point was a secondary Boston hospital to the Mass General, which had already ascended. But he got to go to that hospital, and then he went to Boston City Hospital, and then he went to Cincinnati General Hospital, all hospitals that served the underserved, interestingly. He had a real interest in hospitals that served the underserved. And thanks to Woodruff money, surprise, surprise, Dr. Stead was recruited to Emory and became the chair of the Department of Medicine. Now, I want to inspire you a little bit. Equally amazing is that the people on his left and right are famous people in medicine. The person on his right is John Hickam. He took John Hickam to Duke after his 6-month period of deanship, which he quit in disgust because he didn't get to teach or see patients as the dean. So he couldn't do that anymore. He just said, I'm not going to be dean, I hate it. So he took the guy to his right, Hickam, to Duke, where in a while, he became chair of the internal medicine department at Duke. The person on his left, Paul Beeson, stayed here, became chair of the Department of Medicine after Eugene Stead, and then went on to be chair of medicine at Yale University, and then the Oxford chair of internal medicine in London, or in Oxford, England, where he was then knighted. It was Sir Paul Beeson. Both Beeson and Stead published textbooks of internal medicine that were renowned when I was coming along. And Hickam would have, but unfortunately he died early of coronary heart disease at the age of 54, and with an untimely death. But those three men were your medical school in 1942 and 43. And they were three stalwarts of outstanding clinical care. In fact, Paul Beeson he brought geriatrics from England back to the United States and really started the geriatrics movement in the United States of America, and was really known as one of the best, kindest, caring physicians to walk the earth. So with that history, we got a pretty good start in medicine here at Emory. As you know, Dr. Stead started the first program at Duke. Dr. Hurst, who was my chair of medicine when I came to Emory, started the PA program here at Emory, thankfully. Dr. Hurst had seen some of the same things Eugene Stead saw, and that was a cadre of people who had already had experience in healthcare that could quickly accelerate into giving vital care to people who needed them. That is why all of you had 2,000 hours of healthcare before you came here. The PA programs still live that motto, that we can accelerate your education and get you through faster than we can get anybody through to help others. So you probably know that Dr. Stead did this with people who were coming out of the military after Korea and Vietnam. Dr. Hurst was doing it just for people who had been in Atlanta and been working in his cardiac lab as aides, if you will. What a great, great tradition, and what a great kudos to people who started thinking about medicine as a team endeavor and not just the individual. I got to serve under Dr. Hurst. He was a great man of medicine, and I'll tell you, one of the things he taught me as a teacher was he never, ever once told me in my entire 3 years of internal medicine training that I'd got something just right. I think it was you, Maha, who mentioned you will always be learning. Dr. Hurst lived that till the end of his life. When he was in his 90s, residents were still going over to his retirement home in Buckhead for him to do rounds with them and look at EKGs. But I remember vividly doing EKG rounds with Dr. Hurst, and I'd be drawing vectors and very, very highly detailed. And Dr. Hurst was this big man. He was actually the cardiologist for both Dwight David Eisenhower and Lyndon Johnson. But I'd feel this big thump on my back where his hand would hit me. And he'd be looking over my shoulder and he'd say, "Bill, you've almost got it. Keep it up." And I just wanted to go, "Dr. Hurst, these are beautiful pictures. How could they be more beautiful?" He said, "You can do better." It was a great experience with a master teacher. The biggest lesson being, we never get it all right. We always learn. We have to accept our imperfections. And we often ameliorate those imperfections by asking one of our colleagues to help. There is no shame. In fact, there's great benefit to asking for help from other providers, both for our personal health and for our practice of medicine. All right. Happy birthday. And I'll cut to the chase on this. This is also the birthday of Dr. Stead. Do you all know that? Do you know this white coat ceremony is a celebration of Eugene Stead's birthday? So happy birthday, Dr. Stead, wherever you are. I have a feeling he's looking down on this crowd smiling. He did say at the end of a long career of being in the lab and writing books and doing everything, the most important thing he did in medicine was to start the PA program at Duke. So thank you, Dr. Stead. All right, now for the main event. Why are we bringing all these people together today to have you all put on this flimsy cotton polyester blend coat? I mean, really? What's the big deal, right? I mean, you're not the only people who wear white coats. Butchers wear white coats. I don't think they have a white coat ceremony. Chefs wear white coats. They do kind of have a white coat ceremony. I think when they get their toques, it's a big deal. And don't forget, there's an Arctic bear that wears a white coat all the time. And they don't have ceremonies either. So why do we take time out of our busy lives to ask your families and friends and loved ones to come here and have a white coat ceremony? You've already heard part of it from Maha and Bill, but I want to give you a little bit from my point of view. Maha has mentioned that what really changed medicine, the reason we have white coats, was the melding of science and medicine. And it was truly a dramatic shift. It also went with medical education. In 1912, the Flexner Report reviewed all the medical schools in the United States, and Emory failed. We were a standalone medical school, and Flexner said pretty much Emory should be closed, as should all for-profit medical schools, which was most of them at the time. So Emory could have closed, and we weren't Emory then, we were actually Southern Medical College. But what they did was what the great schools in front of us had done, like Harvard and Johns Hopkins and Case Western. The Southern Medical College merged with Emory University and moved to this campus. And that turned Emory into a real medical school for the first time. Doctors wore white coats and stole them from the lab. We stole our white coats from the laboratory scientists. Make no bones about it. Becoming a PA is going to be a transformation. We've talked about how you've changed, and a lot of you were nodding at how hard you've already worked. And I can only tell the family members here, I don't want to count the number of PowerPoint slides they've looked at. It really is numbing in so many ways. I know it is. They've gone over so much, and all I can tell you is the pace will increase over the next 50 years. Medicine is moving at a rapid pace. We just try to get you going. But what you will learn over the next 50 years, and I do mean 50 years, will truly be remarkable. So the knowledge part is one part. You've started on that. The bigger part, though, is the transformation to a caregiver/healer. So I talk about that as a transformation from being self-centered, and I'm not using that in a pejorative term. We should all have some love of ourselves. In fact, we get in trouble when we don't take care of ourselves. But when we read the first line of your oath later, I will hold as my primary responsibility the health, safety, welfare, and dignity of all human beings. It didn't say I'm going to hold as a primary responsibility myself. And I would argue that going into healthcare is a switch from everything being about me to everything being about the community, the patient's family. It really is a turning, if you will, turning your life over to caring for others. And it is an immersive experience that you're going to start in 2 months. Bill's already alluded to that. So has Maha. It is an immersive, wonderful experience. And you're doing it at a time where arguably we've been more scared about your health. You've been more scared about your own health. We've all been afraid about the health of our families and loved ones all over the world. And people have gotten sick and died, and we've missed funerals and we've missed birthdays. And it's just been an incredibly stressful time. So you're just having that added to your plate. And I'm sorry about that. And I'm also thrilled that you all came to school knowing that. You are a brave, altruistic, amazing group of people. I just think we want to acknowledge that today as we talk about you. We talked about how the coat symbolizes, and everybody's got a list for this, so I'm going to read mine. I really don't have to read it after Maha did such a good job, but science, trust, cleanliness, protection, purity of intent, but also can carry some negative connotations, aloofness, superiority, authoritarianism, and it can be a barrier. When I first went on the psychiatry wards, the psychiatrists didn't wear white coats because they thought it was a barrier to people connecting with them as another human being. And I told the pediatricians, they don't wear white coats, they wear pastel coats, they don't wear any coats, and they have so much fun. I'm jealous. But you don't have to wear a white coat to do what we do. You really don't, but you have to carry the sense of what the white coat means with you everywhere you go, at work and outside of work. That barrier, and I want to say something to you, and I hope you hear this. The barrier can be a patient barrier, but can also be a barrier for you. When you put on this coat, you feel different. There is a weight that comes with putting on this coat. I'll talk about that a little bit more. But please don't let it stop you from sharing your feelings with others safely, with professionals if you need them. But sometimes when you put on that white coat, you're supposed to be a superhuman all of a sudden. And that is not the case. We are, I hope, humans who do super amounts of good, but we are not superhumans. And we need to continue to express ourselves and have feelings and process those in a healthy way. When I was thinking about the white coat, my own white coat, I got my first white coat in this room. And we got it the first week of medical school. There was no ceremony. There was, here's your white coat. I'll just say that was only superseded by when I came to medical school here, when I sat down beside my 8th grade girlfriend. I hadn't seen her since high school. She went to Davidson, I went to Emory, and I looked at her and said, Laura. She said, Bill. I said, we're in medical school together. Go figure. She's a great general practice internist here in Atlanta. But that, I also got my white coat that day. I remember, and I have a picture. It was a big deal to meet your 8th grade girlfriend again. I have this picture etched in my mind. My roommate and I, Wesley Eastridge, who's now in private practice up in East Tennessee, we went home and we put on our white coats, and somebody snapped a picture. And I cannot find that picture for the life of me, but it is permanently etched in my mind. And when I think about it, I think about how I was kind of preening. You know, I thought I looked really good. But I also remember I was really scared. You know, it just kind of came to me. I had not done nearly as much in medicine as you all had done. I've been in the ICU one time with a cardiologist. My medical work had really been building a track for cardiac rehab at Georgia Baptist Hospital. That was my medical experience. And I didn't know what I was getting into nearly as much as you did. But you all know that you are stepping it up and that you are really going to be put in that place in the room where you're going to make a big difference in people's lives. And that's daunting. I was scared. Now, my white coat at first, I'll tell you this. My white coat became my utility vehicle. It had everything in it that you could put in a pickup truck and more. You know, when we were going around the hospital at night, that was back in the days of 36-hour shifts, and the last thing you wanted to have to do was go find something. So in addition to my stethoscope and my tuning forks and my otoscope and my ophthalmoscope, my pens for sharp and dull, I had every IV supply known to human beings in there because we put in all the IVs. So I had butterflies, I had 12 gauge, 14 gauge, 9 gauge, 8 gauge needles. I was a IV machine. And I didn't have to go to any place to find that. Also, I had the stool hemocult cards that I carried all the time. Back then, those were a precious commodity at Grady. Sometimes if you didn't have one in your pocket, and it's probably because it's kind of today, we were hoarding them. If we just put them in the bins, we could always find them, but everybody had to have one in their pocket. Because if you didn't have it, then again, that was an extra trip and you were working long hours. So I could test somebody's stool for blood, had all the equipment right there with me. What we didn't need was gloves because we didn't use gloves back then to put in IVs or anything else. I'm not kidding. Really? Yeah, so see, people, it was not, we were not well protected. Let me put it that way. And I will say it was right as AIDS was coming in, and it was scary. We should have been much more careful, but that was not that was not the norm of the day. So I told you about that. I saw some people not wearing white coats, and it was my go-to thing during my medical school time and my residency time. I carried it everywhere. It was part of me. Weighed a lot. Then I went into oncology, which, as you know, is a very reflective, difficult profession. It's hard to take care of cancer patients day in and day out. I had fantastic people who led me through that. Got to work with people like Alan Platt down at Grady in the HEMONC service. I can't believe he's trying to cut back his time. Y'all can rib him about that whenever you think of it. Huh? But we worked with a remarkable group of people and learned about taking care of people who were seriously ill. Alan, as you know, worked with sickle cell patients and really transformed the care we were giving at Grady in sickle cell. And I got to work in the oncology and the hematology sections to work with just amazing physicians. But I started not wearing my coat as much because I didn't have to carry all those things. And oncology is very much a conversive enterprise. I spent a lot of time talking and listening to patients, mostly listening. And so I haven't put on a white coat in 15 or 20 years. But two things. One is I still dress professionally. I can't go to work without a tie and a dress shirt and dress pants and dress shoes on. I just can't do it. And I carry the essence of that white coat with me everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. So these things we're talking about today, we carry throughout our lives to the benefit of not only our patients, but our family members, our loved ones, our friends. You're going to get asked a lot of questions in your life by a lot of people, and you're going to be helpful to them. It is just your life, and what a great life it is. I would like to say, talking about these things, I want to face head on the fear and trepidation that you probably feel becoming a PA. If you were anxious when you first started, days like today can make you even more anxious, kind of. We'll get to the good parts. But it's a tough job. We shouldn't aver our eyes from the fact that this is a difficult profession you're entering. The weight of responsibility that any good-hearted person feels, and you have good hearts because you're doing this when you're going in to try to help somebody. And as Maha said, you get in there and you think, what if I don't know something? What if I really can't help? What if I make a mistake? Oh my goodness. It's really hard. So you do feel that. You feel that when you put on the white coat. However, the good news is that you have these wonderful people who are on this stage and in this auditorium and outside the staff and faculty of the PA program in the Emory School of Medicine who are committed to walking with you, okay? And I deliberately said walking with you. We're not going to be behind you pushing. We're over that. We're not going to be in front of you dragging you along, because we have to get you to being an independent practitioner of medicine. But we'll walk with you. We'll support you in every way we can. But we all have to get there where we can go in that room and think, you know, I can help people. And I will tell you, Dr. Stead, who really was not a fan of in-classroom teaching, Dr. Stead thought the best teaching that ever occurs is when our patients teach us. And I am from that school as well. You're having to do the minimum, but the real ticket is going into those rooms. And I will tell you that you will learn more from the patients you see than you could ever imagine, even more than you have the last 10 weeks. After a month of internal medicine or surgery, you'll look back and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've learned that much from being on this rotation. My hope for you is that every one of those patients that you see, and they're going to be difficult patients, that there'll be hard days in medicine. People will not be the way we think they ought to be. That's all right. But I hope that your patients become what they've become for me. And that is an absolute joy in my life. I can't think of anything better to do with my life than to use what I've learned and help others, and then for them to be grateful for the help. It's a very, very special thing to be told, thank you for being here for me. And you all have the privilege of being that person. It's an amazing thing we get to do. I hope our patients' stories and kindness to you will be accepted as the extraordinary gifts they are in your lives. You can't get this anywhere else, you all. Medicine is a place where you get these gifts that are truly amazing. And with the support of all the people here, these people and the people who joined us in the back, who are so important to your lives, you will learn to successfully care for others and yourself. And that care, as I said earlier, will be extended to just about everybody you meet. You will be a compassion and kindness machine for the world, because I hope that joy allows you to do that. And by the way, you're going to become exceptional physician assistants at Emory. I know this. I know these faculty. I know the people I've gotten to practice with, and you are destined to be exceptional caregivers. Finally, I want to talk to your loved ones for a minute, because they're a critical part of this. We invited them here with great intent. We are coming together today to really pause. People left work, they traveled from around the country. We're all here not doing what we normally do. We're taking a time to pause and reflect on your entry into this noble profession. The best caregivers take time to pause and reflect. One of the things I worry about is people thinking they can multitask in our fields. I tell people what I do is serially task with great intensity. When I started to go in a room and I had somebody teach me this, if there's anything else on my mind that is keeping me from being fully there with the patient, I try to go take care of it ahead of time. If you've got a family member you're worried about, if you haven't made a phone call, go do that. Don't let that come into your mind when you're sitting across from a human being you're serving. So pause and reflect. And the loved ones here, if you see that they're moving too fast, and they will move too fast, I promise you they're already moving too fast. I give you permission to remind them we're supposed to pause and reflect. We all need to do that for our health, especially as caregivers. let's, as the people who care for you and about you, be ever cognizant of the essential roles of the people in your families, your friends, your significant others, and the role they play in our lives. They are critically important, and they will help care for you. We help care for each other, right? It's a model. We care for each other, whether it's families, friends, or in medicine. We care for each other. The love that you are given by the people sitting behind us and the people online is perhaps the greatest gift you will ever receive, other than your patients maybe, but it'll be right up there. And both are essential. And finally, we all need to be reminded that we have basic needs as human beings. We try to forget that. Our habits are important, habits of sleep, exercise, a healthy diet, human-to-human interactions, which have been stressed to the max during the last 18 months, and creative endeavors. It is really good for you to be creative, whether that's writing, scribbling, making music, making art, taking photographs, going to the museum. All those things are essential to a healthy life. I'm officially giving, again, the people in this room the right to nag you with kindness if you are not taking care of yourself with your sleeping, eating, et cetera, et cetera. That kind of nagging is fine because it's done out of love. I'm sure that if there are any parents in the room, they've been nagged by their children before, because I did that to my parents, and it's just a thing we do to our parents. We want them to be healthy, right? They want you to be healthy. As you put on your white coats today, symbolically, you become a professional. Symbolically, you make that switch. It's going to take some more time, but that's the symbol we're about today. I would also like us collectively in the room, those who are not the students, but even the students to each other, offer the white coat as a cloak of love and support. Because we all need it. But we're giving that to you as part of your white coat today. I am overjoyed that you all, this wonderful group of human beings, has chosen to come to Emory University to become physician assistants. The world will be such a better place for your work, your diligence, your kindness, and what you will do while you are here and when you leave here and care for others. And finally, thanks to all of you for allowing me to speak today. It's a special privilege to be asked to speak to people who are not in your same tribe, I will say. I'm a physician, and it is even a greater honor to be here with these folks, with you, and with your loved ones. Congratulations, happy birthday, PA, and thank you very much.
The white coat is a symbol of trust. It is a symbol of your developing knowledge and skill. The white coat signifies the fiduciary responsibility that you will have to each and every patient whose life you will touch. Class of 2023, may you understand the gravity of this responsibility as you proceed through your training. And every single time you don your white coat, may you be reminded of the sacred trust your patients will be placing in your hands with each and every encounter for years and decades to come. When Dr. Lund calls your society name, please come forward as a group to the left side of the stage. From there, she will call you individually to come across the stage to be coated by your society leaders. Dr. Lund.
Sorry, knocked over you, I think. All right, we will start with the Peterson Society, please. And the Peterson Society will be coded by Vikita Smith and Greg Burke. Sheyi Adeyemi Bajo. Courtney Cravens. It fits. Nora Eldon. Sherzad Gazemshani. Fadumo Ismail. Colton Patterson. Shayan Sajid. Jenny Tran. And next we have the Hearst Society. And the Hearst Society will be coded by Karen Newell and Kathleen Hoff. Kazan Batshaw. Sorry. Colleen DaCosta. Taylor Ellsworth. Daniel Lee. Katie Jones. Hillary Mendietu. Suzanne Payne. Christina Schroeder. And Tracy Wise. All right, could I please have the M&M Society line up? And the M&M Society will be coded by Bill Bryson and Kim Morlick. Okay. Alicia Brogdon. Ubria Eves. Melissa Martell. Olivia Pantano. Miriam Riaz, sorry. Amanda Starr. Jaylyn Thornton. Paula Vizcara. And Abigail Woodruff. If I could have the Heimlich Society please line up. And the Heimlich Society will be coded by Sonia Green. Okay, the Heimlich Society will be coded by Sonia Green and our newest faculty member, Joe Barillo. Gabrielle Blaylock. Looking good. Alexandria Dansby. Jordan De Silva. Brian Fleischman. Danielle Lampert. Amy O'Leary. Amy St. Clair. James Thomas. And Caroline Wells. And could I please have the Hudson Society line up? And the Hudson Society will be coded by Jeremy Amayo and Lisa Ward. Ashley Davis. Bryn DeVita. Alex Foley. Marie Gaudiers. Rihanna Page. Karen Pfeiffer. Michaela Plansker. Magdalene Spitzer. And Lorraine Wheeler. All right, thank you. And last but not least, the Stead Society. And the Stead Society will be coded by Aaron Weinish and Hope Davis. Tamara Childers. Aries Hamlet. Jessica Kilpatrick. Jennifer Newton. Natalia Oriano. Emily Rukeyser. Ryan Shepard. Lavpriya Sutharan. and Aaron Walden. Congratulations, class of 23. You look fantastic.
Yes. Hi. No problem. Class of 2023. You're looking good out there. Looking good. All right. Now, if all the students will please rise. We are going to recite the PA professional oath together. Medical professionals on the stage and in the audience, please feel free to join in. All right. Everybody ready? Here we go. I pledge to perform the following duties with honesty and dedication. I will hold as my primary responsibility the health, safety, welfare, and dignity of all human beings. I will uphold the tenets of patient autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. I will recognize and promote the value of diversity. I will treat equally all persons who seek my care. I will hold in confidence the information shared in the course of practicing medicine. I will assess my personal capabilities and limitations, striving always to improve my medical practice. I will actively seek to expand my knowledge and skills, keeping abreast of advances in medicine. I will work with other members of the healthcare team to provide compassionate and effective care of patients. I will use my knowledge and experience to contribute to an improved community. I will respect my professional relationship with a physician. I will share and expand knowledge within the profession. These duties are pledged with sincerity and upon my honor. Congratulations, class. All right, please feel free to sit down, be comfortable. Well, we'd like to thank everybody for coming out this afternoon. We're looking forward to seeing you outside in the adjacent School of Medicine under the tent. There are grab-and-go refreshments as you socialize. So for those in the audience, if you will, once we wrap up, if you'll please exit through the stage right doors, the doors way back there on the right side, that would be perfect. The students in the audience, we are going to have pictures, society by society. First, we have a group photo of all the faculty. We're going to do that. So if once we wrap up, faculty, if you head out the left side doors, we'll do a faculty picture. And then Peterson is going to be the first society for photos. It'll be about a photo every 5 minutes or so. M&M is second, Hearst, Stead, Heimlich, and wrapping up with Hudson. That is the order. But before we conclude, I want to thank the entire PA program, faculty, and staff for making this come together this afternoon. We want to thank everybody in the audience here and out on Zoom for joining us. We thank you very much and look forward to talking to you outside. Thanks everybody for coming and congratulations, class of 23.